Rev up your engines! ...2022 Toyota Avalon Hybrid. It's the last year that they're making the Avalons. I guess they're going to make the Crowns then. As you can see, it's a beautiful looking car, and it is the top of the line XSE. People always ask me, should I get a hybrid? Should I get a non-hybrid? Well, realize, of course, this is the top of the line hybrid. Out the door, he paid 50 grand. You can get a non-hybrid, and they only start at like 36. So you pay extra for the hybrid, but of course, you get phenomenal gas mileage. As we look under the hood, and the owner just announced to me he's never opened the hood, so this is the first time he's even looked under here. So of course, he has no idea what any of this stuff does. But what you got is, you have a 4-cylinder engine, but it's a hybrid system. He gets an actual 45 miles a gallon this thing. With the system, you got a lot of power because there's a 4-cylinder gas engine and then an electric motor, that's the hybrid part of it. You get plenty enough power, but you get phenomenal gas mileage. This gas mileage is real. This isn't some rating. This is what the guy actually gets. I realized I was driving over here on the highway. In the city, he gets even better gas mileage because you regenerate in electricity. Now, the best you're going to do with a regular gasoline, either a 4 or 6, is going to be about 32, 33 miles a gallon on a highway, and you're going to get much worse in town. This actually goes the other way. If you're going to buy one of these, you want to know 2 things. How much money you're going to save on gasoline versus how much more you pay for the car. This fancy one with the hybrid setup was about 14 grand extra. That's a lot of money. That buys a lot of gasoline. If you do more city driving than highway driving, if you do, definitely should think about something like this. You're going to save a ton in gasoline. The next question is going to be, is it going to last? The technology is extremely complex. You have a large hybrid battery, not as big as an electric vehicle, but it's still relatively large, and it runs an electric motor, goes through all kinds of computer stuff. It's very complex. But after all, this is a Toyota. And Toyota is the hybrid king as far as I'm concerned. They're making Priuses for over 2 decades, sold millions of them. They understand hybrid technology. It is very complex, costs a fortune to fix when it breaks down. Say you buy one of these new like he did. Generally, the hybrid systems, they're pretty bulletproof for 200,000 miles or more. They're pretty good systems, with one exception. If you live in Canada and you bought one of those few years ago RAV4 Primes, they made the wiring wrong, and they're shorting out, and Toyota's saying, oh no, that's not covered under warranty. Of course, it should be. I haven't seen that problem in anything other than RAV4s. I've never seen it in this. I have seen Camry hybrids here in Rhode Island. They had 190,000 miles on them. We're still going strong. So, it is a good system. It's more complex, there's no arguing that. But if you're going to buy a new one like he did, you're probably going to get years and years and years of pretty trouble-free stuff with a lot better gas mileage, if you don't mind the big price differential. Now, power-wise, this puts out 215 horsepower. A V6 puts out 305. But you might think this is crazy. This is 1.5 seconds faster, 0 to 60, than the V6. How can that be? The electric portion that's used mainly for acceleration purposes, electric motors have instant torque. As soon as you turn them on, they got torque. Torque equals acceleration to most people. So it accelerates faster. But here's the thing, it weighs a lot less. You got a little bitty 4-cylinder engine, not a big old V6. It's got to pull itself along. And this is not like a fully electric car. In a fully electric car, they run only on the battery. The batteries in the electric cars are humongous. They weigh a ton. The hybrid battery in this thing weighs like 118 pounds. You get a Tesla, they're super heavy because they're super dense and they drive the car. This is a boosting electric battery. It runs on regular old gasoline. You can run it up to E15, but do not use E85. It's warning you, don't use E85. It was not made for that. It gets this phenomenal gas mileage on what? On regular gasoline, the cheapest you can buy. This is clean, black and silver. I love it. Okay, as we start it up, realize it's an electric car, partly, so it's not making any noise. Check it out, all kinds of things are twirling around. As you can see, the engine's not running yet. It's running on the battery section. Now, this isn't a full electric car, but as you can see here, there is an EV mode. You can drive an EV if you want to sneak up on people. They claim 25 miles of range. I think that's got a push in it. You'd be driving like a turtle. Try it one. As soon as you get going any real speed, it'll switch back into regular gasoline mode, charge it up. This isn't a car that's made to drive around as an electric mode. It's a hybrid car, and the phenomenal gas mileage with the acceleration that it has is a lot of fun to drive. Got all the accoutrements, plug-ins for your electronics, eco mode, normal mode, sport mode for the shifting. A stunning interior with a whole bunch of space in the back seat. Look at that room. Look at it. And as beautiful it is on the outside, still got a pretty big trunk. You can fit quite a bit of junk back here. Quite a bit. He's got it clean, but you can put a lot if you want. Some cars are a hassle to get those back seats down to load stuff. Check it out. It's got a pull tab. And on both sides. Makes getting to it easy. Some of these are a royal pain in the rear end. This, one pull, it's open, and it's locked. But truthfully, the fancy ones have one problem, and there it is. These beautiful wheels. Notice, they are low-profile tires. In 2 months, he's already popped 2 of those tires, and they're not cheap. I remember years ago when I was in Houston, BMW came out with all these low-profile tires. Almost every single customer of mine who bought one ended up changing the rims and the tires to normal tires. The low-profile tires will pop. And he lives here in Rhode Island, which is notorious for having the worst roads in the country. It's been voted worst roads in the country. You might think twice about low-profile tires if you live where the roads are crappy. Because, take the Matrix, it's more or less normal. You can see there's a reasonable amount of a gap here. Take these Avalon tires, there's hardly any gap at all. And what happens? You hit a bump, the tires pop. Sometimes they break the rims that cost a fortune. He was a smart man though. Before he took the car out at the dealership, he paid for the tire and rim insurance. So he popped 2 tires, no co-payment, he got new tires. If you're gonna have these, they're for handling, you're gonna pop tires in crappy roads, make sure you pay for the insurance. It only makes sense. So why do people put low profile tires on? Because it's more aggressive handling. They're more fun to drive. Now, some of them are a little bit louder since they don't have the sidewall. It's a rougher ride. Understand, regular tires kind of like balloons. As you hit the bumps, they absorb a bunch of the shocks. These can't because there's nothing to absorb the shock. They're too thin. Now, in the case of this beautiful car, my wife would hate riding in it because I've taken her in them. And she says, ugh, I like my Lexus, it's smooth. That thing rides too rough. But somebody who is a serious driver, if you want to pay the extra money for the insurance, go right ahead, put those tires on. Just make sure you got that insurance because you're going to be popping tires in potholes. They are not made for rough roads. They're made for smooth roads. You take them on a nice smooth racetrack. Yeah, there aren't potholes at racetracks, so it's really crappy. Let's take this baby for a spin, see what it does. Some of those hybrid cars do take getting used to because, you know, a lot of times they're not going to make any noise when you start them. See? Does all that cool stuff, but you feel, oh, gee, it's not going. But when you put it in drive, it is going. Let's put it in sport mode. As you can see, it's in sport mode now. There's the sport. It tells you everything. We cruise around. We notice one thing. It's a very quiet car. Now, the motor's running. It's not on electric anymore. I got it in power mode. The other thing I hear is beads on his keys here. They kind of rattle. I'd take them off if I was driving it. That'd drive me nuts. Now, we're waiting for the traffic as usual here. And, you know, it's the engine shut itself off. Save on gas. It's another way it gets better gas mileage. I'm not a fan of shut-offs, but what the heck. Now, here we go. So he's got a lot of pickup. That's the electric motor. It's got torque for acceleration. Maybe it's a little bitty 4-cylinder engine, but it's got better acceleration than the V6. It's got 305 horsepower. You hit it, you get instant torque from that electric motor. It sticks me back in the seat. This thing's fun to drive around. It's like a little race car. It's pretty low to the ground now. You're gonna have to worry about hitting speed bumps. I went really slow out of my driveway, but you better be careful about speed bumps and big potholes. Like I say, he's already crapped out 2 of the tires, popped them. It has no problem at all cornering. Nice acceleration. It is a fun car to drive. And the seats are all for comfy. I'm really comfortable in these seats. It's form-fitting. And just looking at the car generally, I do have to say, they have their screen set up a lot better than the older ones were. Oh, the buttons tell you what they are. Simple to use. Have some fun. You can shift it manually too. You can put it in a manual shift. Pretty easy to use too. You don't have to look at it. You just up, down, just like a motorcycle. direct shift. I like that idea. And if you don't mind sticking your hands up here, it's got the paddle shifters too. I like this though, because then you're just driving. It's more direct, just like a motorcycle. Up, down, down one. It's real easy to do. You don't have to switch from one hand up, one hand down. It does the whole thing here. I like this design better myself. So there we have it. An Avalon hybrid. I didn't even look under the hood. It's the first time he ever looked under the hood. He understands Toyotas are good cars. He just got in one of the dealers, said, hey, I love it. I'm going to buy it. And he did. But he actually made a wise decision. What do they say? Beginner's luck, right? I wouldn't try it again, though. You never know. The next time that you're not a beginner anymore. But I got to say, the mileage that it gets, the way that it rides, people aren't into sedans anymore. And this is a sedan. Granted, they're only going to sell a certain amount of them. You might not want to spend a 50G for the top of the line one. Maybe you want to get it a little lower, you know. Say 14 or 20 grand. Buy the lower echelon one. But if you're wondering hybrid versus gasoline, now you know the truth. You know the money differential. You're going to pay more for the hybrid, and you're going to get a lot better gas mileage in town. On a highway, just a little bit better. But in town, a whole bunch. So if you're an in-town driver, it makes a lot more sense. But if you do highway driving all the time, you really want to spend another 15, 20 grand? I don't think so. It wouldn't make that much sense. The technology is more expensive. As it ages, it costs more money. In that case, I would go with the conventional engine myself. I wouldn't go for a hybrid. But you want the gas mileage in the city, this is faster because that electric motor gives more power. 0 to 60, it zooms right away. And it's ultra quiet, a lot quieter than the other ones, because those electric motors, half the time when they're just cruising along, you don't hear anything. So this XSE, like I said, it's low to the ground. So be careful over speed bumps and potholes. Or this giant mouth in the front. It's gone on to some broken teeth in it, and they're not cheap to fix. Now, people have loved 4Runners for ages. It may be the last one that a lot of people are going to love. For one main reason. This is the last V6 engine that they're going to put in these things. Just like my son's Tacoma, TRD Off-Road, that was the last Tacoma that had a 4-cylinder engine. Then the next year, they're getting rid of them in the 4Runners. They're only going to have turbo 4s here in the United States. I predicted they would have problems with the Tacomas when they went to 6 to 4, and indeed they have. Had transmission problems, they've had problems, and I predict they'll have the same problems, only doubly so, in a 4Runner, because numero uno, the 4Runner weighs more than a Tacoma does. Not a smart thing. And of course, people who are nuts about 4Runners, try to find a good used one. They all cost a fortune. That's why people buy new ones. You're almost paying the same price. You might as well go out and buy a new one. But 2025, you can't get these V6s anymore. You're gonna get a turbo 4. That's not what people want. Toyota, you're making a big mistake. People want something that can pull weight, go off-road with the torque of a V6 engine. I know the turbos theoretically can have more horsepower and more torque, but it's at higher RPMs. You're pulling a boat in and out of the water, you're at low RPMs. You're going off-road, you're at low RPMs, low speeds, right? A turbo 4 was not made for that, but that's all they're putting in. So the reason they bought this in this strange orange color is because it's the last one they're making that's any good. She's had other ones, older ones, never had any problems with them because they are well made. I had one over here last year at 375,000 miles on it. Still ran like a top because it's got a V6 engine. It's strong. It doesn't have all this turbocharged crap in it. It's a normally aspirated 6-cylinder engine that's got plenty enough horsepower and torque for driving around in. But the main thing is, they can last forever. Hey, 50 grand, but I mean the average car today is about 46.5, so this isn't an average vehicle by any stretch of the imagination. Strong timing chain. Hey, it's a Toyota. Now, as you can see, compared to other cars, there's all kinds of working room. It's not like it's crammed in, but being a Toyota, you generally don't have to do any work on it except change the oil. But if you do when you got 300,000 miles, it's very easy to work on. It's not cramped. And of course, it's a full-framed vehicle. Check it out. And this one, of course, all these 4Runners are made in Japan. This is still made in Japan. You got a full-frame vehicle that can last forever. that can take it. I had a customer in Houston with one. He bought it. He got T-boned. I'm not kidding. The vehicle was bent like this, but he still drove it down the road. It looked ridiculous. It looked like somebody had bent a hot dog, and he was driving down the road, but it's still tracked because the frame didn't get bent. Well, anything happens to them, you can fix them because I got a solid frame. They're high up in the air. They're not going to bottom out on stuff. And being a TRD off-road, okay, this is real off-road. Look at the transfer case. Look, it's mechanical. Is there anything mechanical left these days? Well, there is here. This isn't one of these. Well, sorry, it won't go in four-wheel drive because your computer's not working, electric motor servo's not working, but this is a gear shift now. It's not a bunch of electronic nonsense that's going to break. These things basically can last forever if you take care of it. And of course, it's got the locking diff, so you're gonna have to be one of a heck of a lousy driver to get stuck with this thing. You get in mud, sleet, snow, whatever, you lock that diff, it's gonna get out of whatever it's in, unless you've driven underwater and it's flooded. These have what people want, which just amazes me of why Toyota's getting rid of this engine and putting in a stupid 4-cylinder turbo. To me, that's just the epitome of stupidity. It's a big vehicle, basically a truck, even though we call it an SUV. It is a full frame. Very few SUVs these days are full frames. But that's what people are buying these things for. They're not buying these things to get 51 miles a gallon. You want to get 51 miles a gallon, get a Camry hybrid, you know? But that's not who's buying these things, right? You're getting rid of your own audience by downsizing into a Turbo 4. Now, the other thing I really like about them is the transmission. Is this an 810 500 speed tranny? No, it is 5 speeds. They are so dependable. Now, you can put it and you can shift it by hand if you want, but most people just put it and drive away. He's got a big old sunroof. I'm not that big of a fan of sunroofs, but plenty of room for the kiddie seats, plenty of room in the back. You put the seats down, you can carry all kinds of stuff in it. Let's start her up. Beautiful graphics, and yes, the screen is built in. This isn't one of these Toyotas or Lexuses that has the one that looks like a ridiculous screen that was glued on like an afterthought. This fits the vehicle. And of course, you've got simple controls for the heat. You don't have to be a computer scientist. What do? No, you turn it for the fan. You turn it for the heat. Simplicity itself. Of course, it's got all the modern stuff for collision avoidance, heated seats, a window in the back that goes up and down, handy for throwing groceries in. Bunch of power supplies you can use, intelligent cruise control. I can feel that heated seat. There's a cold front coming in, but it feels nice. And while we're looking at it, beautiful seats. Now, it's not real leather, it's synthetic leather. It actually has a longer lifespan. They generally last quite a bit longer. They look pretty much like leather. They're synthetic leather, and they're made pretty well. You don't get the cracking that you'll get over the ages with regular leather seats, and they don't have the maintenance where you gotta keep waxing them and everything. Turn the traction control off if you want. You can do the crawl, like I said, so you can lock the differential so you don't get stuck. I mean, look at all the choices that you have. I mean, it's wild. So let's take it for a spin, see how it goes. A V6, okay, smooth idling, as you can see. You get all kinds of views. It is a phenomenal backup camera. You can see the fronts, the sides. It's warning you. Somebody went behind me and it warned. Hey, but you get a really nice panorama. See, it's warning there's somebody coming. Now they're gone. My wife might make me buy one of these just for that feature. She said I'm getting old. You're nice and high up in the air, not outrageously so, and that 5-speed transmission is smooth as silk. For a vehicle with relatively aggressive tires, it's pretty quiet. They've really come a long way in making aggressive treads that don't make that much noise going down the road. I gotta say, years ago, if you had aggressive tires, you'd hear them howling down the road, woo, woo, woo. Not the case. They figured out how to make them right now. The transmission is so smooth, and being only 5 speeds, boy, I predict a long life for these things. It's not one of these 10-speed, 9-speed, 8 speeds. The too many gears are always hunting for gears. This thing is very crisp shifting. I'm surprised they still haven't been built any houses there. Tells me the economy's in a bit of a slump. Normally that would have had 100 houses on it already. Well, we'll take you to our little drag strip, As you can see, there's nobody behind us, so we'll come to a stop. Again, nobody behind us, and we'll floor it. Smooth shifting, lots of power, and of course, we'll slow down a little to 40. Then we'll punch it and see how it'll pass. Here we go. Speedometer picks up nice and sprightly. No problem passing people in this beast. Smooth ride for a off-road vehicle, really. They got the suspension pretty well sorted out too. It's warning you, I got too close to one line. That works too. We'll speed up a little, even though we're supposed to slow down for the curve. No problem whatsoever. And now we'll head back to the other side of the airport. It's windy outside, but it's really not affecting the handling of this or the noise inside. It's pretty well insulated. We'll be making a turn, and no problem making a turn. Nice handling. Again, as we take off, I gotta say, you couldn't even feel that shifting from first to second gears. The advantage of having only 5 speeds. It's not continually shifting up and down and making itself a nuisance. Now, you just won't get the smooth driving experience in the 2025s with the turbo 4-cylinder. It's just not the same. But there is one gigantic problem with this vehicle. And that's good luck trying to find one. These people live in Tennessee. They had to go all the way to Ohio to find one to buy. So, it is the last of the great 4Runners as far as I'm concerned. Maybe the best ever made. But switching to a 4-cylinder turbo, Toyota, you're making a grave mistake. People that want these vehicles, they don't want a hybrid car that gets 50 miles a gallon. They want a big truck SUV that can get them wherever they want, smooth, they can pull stuff, tow boats, they can go wherever they want off-road, and not have to worry about getting stuck with the marvelous Toyota 4-wheel drive system that they got on them that hardly ever break. The only time I ever see them break was when people broke them, rolling them over, crawling rocks or something. Hurry up and get one because there's hardly any of them left. 2025, they're going to be 4-cylinder turbos. All the years they made these things to go back to a 4-cylinder, the original ones you could get in a 4-cylinder. And you know what? People said, I love my 4Runner, but it was a dog. The 4-cylinder engine wasn't enough. They even put V8s in some of these, and they're insane. If you can find one with a V8 and it still runs, buy it, even if you fix it. You can sell it to somebody for a bunch of money because everybody loves the V8s. They're very hard to find. But a Turbo 4, thumbs down on that, but thumbs up on the last of the great 2024 4Runners. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.